Disney's live-action Snow White remake has had more drama than a reality TV reunion special, and now the premiere itself is shrinking faster than the evil queen's patience. Instead of the usual star-studded red carpet spectacle, the event has been cut down to a photographer's-only affair, with a quiet, pre-premium screening in Segovia, Spain, a place that sounds like a mystical kingdom but is actually just a remote castle where Disney could avoid, well, people. According to Variety, this blink and you miss it event is a far cry from the usual glittering Hollywood rollout. But hey, at this point, Snow White has already faced more villains than the actual fairy tale, just without the happy ending yet. The political and popcorn problem. The timing of this subtle premiere is no coincidence. With President Donald Trump settling into his second term, the political landscape has done a complete 180-degree turn on wokeness, and Disney, which has been a frequent target of conservative criticism, seems to be adjusting. Trump once called Disney too woke, which, let's be honest, probably makes Mickey Mouse wake up in cold sweats at night. The House of Mouse, in turn, has been making moves to win back favor. They settled a $15 million defamation lawsuit involving ABC News, scrapped a transgender storyline from Win or Lose, and even canceled the upcoming Tiana series, which would have been the first to feature Disney's first black princess in a leading role. In other words, they've been quietly hitting the undo button on their past diversity initiatives, like an intern who accidentally deleted a month's worth of files. The Great Zegler Backlash. You'd think casting Rachel Zegler as Snow White would be a fairy tale dream, but some folks, mainly conservative critics, thought otherwise, since Snow White's defining characteristic is literally, in her name, skin as snow as white. Some felt that casting Zegler, who is of Colombian and Polish descent, was a departure from the original. The backlash was intense, and because nothing stays civil these days, it quickly spiraled into some outright racist remarks. Then came the real controversy, Zegler's personal opinions. After Trump's 2024 re-election, she posted on Instagram wishing that Trump supporters, Trump voters, and Trump himself never know peace. The internet promptly exploded with Trump's fanbase calling for a boycott faster than you can say, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the most cancelled of them all?" Zegler eventually apologized, saying that she let her emotions get the best of her. But for many, the damage was done. Snow White was now a political figure, which is probably the weirdest plot twist this fairy tale has ever seen.
Weird.
Too woke, too feminist, or just too modern? Apparently, updating a nearly 90-year-old story is a crime in some circles. When Zegler and Gal Gadot did an interview about the film's modern take, they mentioned that Snow White would no longer be about a girl waiting for a prince to save her. Instead,
And she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
cue the internet meltdown. Critics complained that the film was being ruined by feminism, calling it another attempt to force woke values into a classic story. On the flip side, supporters pointed out that literally every movie gets modernized to stay relevant. Still, the discourse raged on because nothing brings people together quite like arguing about a fictional princess. The 7 CGI creatures? The controversies didn't stop at Zegler's casting or the film's feminist themes. No. Disney also managed to anger the dwarfism community. Game of Thrones star and longtime dwarfism activist Peter Dinklage called out Disney in 2022, saying he was taken aback that the studio was patting itself on the back for casting a Latina Snow White, while still telling a backwards story about 7 dwarves living in a cave. Disney, in full crisis management mode, promised that the film would take a more modern approach and that they were consulting with dwarfism advocacy groups. The result? The 7 dwarves have now been replaced with CGI characters. That move didn't go over well either. Disney's decision to scrap casting actors with dwarfism in favor of CGI actually took away roles from performers who could have benefited from the opportunity. At this point, if Disney announced that Snow White herself would be CGI, no one would be surprised. So, now what? Despite all the drama, Snow White is still hitting theaters on March 21st, 2025. Will it be a massive success, proving the haters wrong? Or will it be another example of a Disney live-action remake that nobody asked for? The answer, as always, lies in ticket sales. But one thing's for sure, whether you love or hate this Snow White, it has definitely made history as one of the most controversial Disney films before it even hit the big screen. And in Hollywood, that's a feat all on its own. What do you think? Will you be watching Snow White? Or are you going to sit this one out and rewatch the 1937 classic with a bowl of popcorn?